Well,
Yeah,
hello
we're good.
everybody. We're here tonight with Eric Wider, the chair of the campaign to end civil asset forfeiture here in Tennessee, and we wanted to do a live event tonight with Eric and let him give us an update on what's going on in this next legislative season coming up in starting in January, and some of the events that is going to be taking place with the PAC. So this is Eric Wider. Welcome, Eric, and we're glad to have you and fill us in on what's going on.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me, Charles. It's always good to talk with you. So just a little bit about civil asset forfeiture, in case someone's watching who's not aware. So this is a practice where people are having their property taken or cash taken from them without a criminal conviction, and in some cases, no arrest. This happens often in Tennessee, where as far as the states go, on average, we're one of the worst ones, and we're trying to improve the laws, and that's one of the things the PAC has been working on since 2015.
Okay, great.
And then,
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. You're good. So, just prior to 2015, the civil asset forfeiture in Tennessee was really like the wild, wild west. There was no reporting to the public. There was no oversight. Since 2015, the legislature has been working on reporting bills. Almost in every year since 2015, they've been working on making more detailed reporting bills, which is getting more information out to the press and the public about this. And then there also has been some reform efforts made in 2018 on this issue too. And, that has led to, fortunately, a decrease in the number of new forfeiture cases in our state. And also the dollar amounts that result in forfeiture have also gone down about 30% from the peak. But at the same time, what we're seeing, and this is something we told legislators in Tennessee, is that when you improve the state law, whether you're talking about reporting or you're talking about modest reforms, you're going to see government agencies hand the case over to the federal government through their equitable sharing program, through a process called adoption. And what the numbers are showing is that there is at least a correlation where equitable sharing has gone up 89% during the same time that Tennessee really started improving their law, when it comes to at least 2018, when they made some minor reforms.
So basically, that is basically using the federal government as an end around the state laws.
Yeah, absolutely. It completely undermines our state laws. So, you get legislators who are starting to get it. They want to improve the law. They don't agree with, people being harmed by this, especially innocent people. That's what we're trying to protect, innocent people. And then what happens is, these government agencies just go out and completely undermine what the legislators are doing. But at the same time, the legislators have to do more. We're getting more and more states that require criminal conviction in many or most instances, if not all, in some states. That number is around 18 states right now. So Tennessee, definitely, we have catching up to do.
Yeah. It seems like each year that goes by, more and more states are addressing it. And, so it's a big deal, and a lot of people are catching on to it. It just seems like, we're entrenched pretty deep here in Tennessee, and it's taken a while. And we've had to battle a lot of people here in Tennessee with, fighting this. And the thing is I know when we were down there, first started going, there was a lot of legislators that hadn't even heard about this issue. we had to basically educate a lot of
Yeah.
them on it. So anyway,
Yes.
so
Yeah,
what
you're
else?
absolutely right. So mhm. No, but you're absolutely right. That was something we talked about this. It was actually last year we talked about it because in 2015 when we went up there, like you mentioned, many legislators never heard of this. And then by 2019, we had 40 legislators sign on as co-sponsors to a key civil asset forfeiture legislation. And part of that also has to do with a lot of groups that are working hard on this issue, including Americans for Prosperity, Beacon Center of Tennessee, Campaign for Liberty. There's other groups that have been, pushing the ball down the field too here.
Yeah, and one of the things that I remember is when we talked to a legislator last year is when there's a bill that gets passed, a small bill, they automatically assume that it's already that fixed the issue, and that's what we hear is, well, I thought we took care of this last year, and really it we're getting small gains done, but it's not fixing the issue. With the
Yes.
equitable sharing, it's just an in around using the feds to go around the state laws. So
Yeah. And that's something that the Institute for Justice, they came out with a report just today, coincidentally, and they're talking about the state of Tennessee, and even with those minor reforms in the reporting, and in my opinion, just shining the spotlight on this issue, which the reporting did, and then people like the groups I mentioned bringing this issue up every year, shining the spotlight on that, I think has done more to reduce the number of forfeiture cases than the actual reforms that Tennessee had done. Because if you look at the numbers, when the reporting even started happening, that's when the numbers started improving, because it's like, sunlight's the best disinfectant. So that's an issue, that's part of the issue there. But, some of the things that they pointed out in the Institute for Justice report in our state was that, yeah, we're falling short on criminal conviction. We're falling short on equitable sharing. But another thing they highlight in the report is that in Tennessee, when it comes to currency seized, half the time it's $675 or less. So these are not massive cartel amounts that the proponents of civil asset forfeiture claim. These are people who have grocery money on them, people who have rent money on them, and they end up having a terrible day when a government agent takes their cash solely because of suspicion.
And when we did our first bill on this, do you remember, I believe, wasn't it above 60% that they said if our bill, first bill would have passed, over 60% of the cases would be kicked out because they wouldn't be able to get a criminal conviction?
Yeah, so that bill required a criminal conviction, and from the state's own analysis, they said 60% of the forfeiture cases could not result in a criminal conviction just because there was no evidence there or completely lack of evidence. So that's pretty telling.
Yeah, and so when we need to wrap our mind around that is the state itself is telling us that over 60% of the people are losing their property by law that they couldn't even get a criminal conviction on. And so even to bring this up, and it falls on a great day, and so this is the Bill of Rights Day. So this is completely against the Bill of Rights. It's taking your property without due process or even a conviction. So anyway, speaking of the Bill of Rights, you got an event coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so we have a Bill of Rights dinner scheduled in Knoxville. It's our second annual. It's scheduled for January 5th. Tuesday. We had one earlier this year. Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs was the speaker. We really appreciate, that he was able to speak to that. He also, so our guest there had, for that event, he also signed copies of the Young Americans for Liberty Constitutional Handbook. So I think that was something cool. And it was a successful event. We had about 83 people show up. It raised a good amount of money for the PAC. And then we're going to have another one. Yeah, like I mentioned, this Tuesday, January 5th. People, if they're interested in going to it, we have Jeff Dice, president of the Mises Institute, is going to be the speaker. Glenn Jacobs is going to be there again. Jeff is bringing copies of Economics in One Lesson by Henry Hazlitt. Any person who buys a ticket, is going to get a free copy of that book. And then also it's Buddy's Barbecue. A lot of people like that. A lot of people who went to the event last year also enjoyed the food, or at least that's what they've told me. And so I think it'll be a great event. And for $50, I think there's a lot of value there too. So
yeah, I was there last year, and my wife and I was there last year, and thought the food was very good, and it was a good event. The speaker was good.
Yeah.
And, it's good
Yeah.
to help raise money and raise awareness for what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's two ways. If someone's interested in buying a ticket, so there's two ways. I'm just going to kind of look over on another screen here to get that information pulled up. But if they go to facebook.com/EndGovFest, right? So end government theft, but we just shortened it GOV. You go to that Facebook page, or you can just type in campaign to end civil asset forfeiture in Tennessee. You go to our event section and you'll see our page, and it has a link to buy tickets. Also, if you can go directly to the website to purchase tickets, and that is the website. I'm going to spell it out because it says Knoxville, but it's actually spelled knxvl.com/NCAF. So that's another website. So it's knxvl.com/NCAF. And anyone can go to that website and they can purchase their tickets for the event there too.
After we're done with the video, you can post those links in the comments section.
Yeah.
So anybody
that
wants that'll help them find those links a lot easier. And you have them on your Facebook page as well, right?
Correct. Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to fill us in on?
I think the most important thing is what we're looking to do this year. So again, we're working with groups like Campaign for Liberty and Americans for Prosperity to try to get legislators to introduce new legislation. We had a state representative, Martin Daniel, who was a champion on this issue. He worked hard on it for more than a few years. And so when he left the legislature, he had legislation language already drafted for some of the issues that we were working on. Like, for instance, one of them is Tennessee is one of 3 states that requires someone to pay a $350 bond for them to get their property back. So something to think about. I said the average currency taken is $675 or less, right? And for you to try to get your money back, you got to pay a $350 bond, which is absolutely ridiculous, right? Most people are not going to do that. So we're looking to get that issue taken on this year. Representative Justin Lafferty has a more comprehensive reporting bill that will actually let us know exactly how many criminal cases there are versus how many cases don't have a criminal conviction. For instance, some of the people who support civil asset forfeiture say that this only happens to dozens of innocent people, or 5%. I think that number is way too low. I think it's closer to that one report that said 60, or at the very least the majority. But the truth is we don't know. And Representative Lafferty's bill is a way to find out. We're working on some other things too. There was a cap on damages put in during the reforms. So that I think is detrimental to people who are, were wrongfully had their property taken. We're looking at that. And then of course we want to look at, requiring criminal conviction and taking on equitable sharing. As long as we continue to improve our state laws, if that equitable sharing loophole exists, it's going to be a major problem. So,
yeah,
as it already is proving.
Like I said, it's just an end around the state law for them to circumvent state law and use the feds to do what they want to do, and
Yeah,
that's not good at all. I don't think they would be willing to let the feds do that on other issues. Let's put it that way.
yeah, exactly.
All right. Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. Just definitely encourage any supporters of the PAC to consider going to the fundraiser on January 5th. I think it'll be a great time. Even with COVID, they're taking steps to mitigate that. Tables will have 4 to 6 seats per table. But even if you go buy a table, you'll still get 10 tickets. And they're also doing other things with the serving of the food. So I think it'll be a good night. I think it'll be a fun night. It'll be interesting to see what the president of the Mises Institute has to say. Plus, Economics in One Lesson is a great book. So to help a good cause, to get good food, and to get a free book, I think, again, there's just a lot of value for anyone who has the opportunity to go to the event that night.
Yeah. And like I said, I was there last year. It was a good event, and I see it just getting better this year and growing until we can get this issue taken care of here in the state of Tennessee. And we all know how the legislature is. When that one goes away, there's another battle, because as Mark Twain said, our liberties and freedoms are always at risk when the legislature's in session. So anyway, well, Eric, appreciate you joining us tonight and telling us about what's going on and the event and everything. So we'll get together again and cover some other things. And so if you have nothing else to say and nothing else to add, we'll end this video.
All right. Well, thank you so much. It was good to talk about this.
All right. You're welcome. Thank you. Good night, everyone.